Hello, church. I'm Steve Lafrance from the One Miami Church, and I'm excited to be kicking off our Sermon on the Mount series. And today, what we're going to talk about is being present. How can we be present in these crazy and turbulent times? Hello, what's going on, teens? This is Steve Lafrance from the One Miami Church. We are excited to be here with you, excited about the Sermon on the Mount. Today what I'm going to talk about is being present. Being present in an age and in a time where it's so easy to be isolated, so easy to be separated. And so I'm hoping as we explore the Sermon on the Mount today that we would be able to have a better idea, a better understanding of how to be present in our community. Our world, as many of you are aware of, is divisive and there's different trials going on. We have a political election coming up. We have different challenges online that makes it hard to just feel accepted and feel close to people. And then we have challenges at home that makes it very difficult to feel accepted and connected to people. And so what our world needs is community. What our world needs is one another. And Jesus, in his infinite wisdom, when he was preparing to lead people, he helped and he showed them how to build community and how to be present in a real meaningful way. I want us to imagine what this world would be like if we could just be present with someone, that we would be able to put down our phones, that we would be able to look at someone across from us and really connect with them in a meaningful way. And this is what Jesus establishes here. We are called to be good neighbors, and being present with people is how we do it. So without salt and light, the world decays and becomes dark. And so God is calling us to be salt and light of the earth and to be present with our communities. Let's pick up in Matthew chapter 5, beginning in verse 13. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stands and give light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Jesus is calling his followers to be his follower. Jesus is calling his followers to imitate and walk after him. What Jesus is helping us understand is first and foremost where our identity needs to come from. Now, for those of you who are not Christian, you are made in the image of God. You reflect God to this world, even on the days you don't feel like you do, but you reflect God to this world. But for those of you who are disciples, your identity is rooted in you are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Even on Zoom, even online, you are that. And people will look to that when you let it shine in a meaningful way. The reason why Jesus wants to establish this identity is so we can work from victory. I think too often we work from negative notions about ourselves and we have a sort of self-deprecating attitude. But what we are called to be is to understand that who we are in Christ, which is the salt and light of the world. And so Jesus desires, first and foremost, that as salt and light of the world, that we preserve and shine bright in our community. What is it like on the high school campus? What is it like at your home? What is it like in the communities that you're practicing social distancing in? What is it like? You see, in those areas, if you see a need for light, if you see a need for preservation, then that's where you can be the salt and light of the world. Really quickly, I want to just give a quick standard biblical definition of how Jesus is using these metaphors. So salt in the first century was used to add flavor, but it was also used as a preservative. It was intended to keep meat from decaying, but it was also intended to add flavor to whatever meal you're eating, like we do today. And light was intended for you to be able to see whatever it is you need to see. Light is a guide. If a community had a lot of light, it feels safe. I grew up in North Miami Beach, and there was one street in particular on 167th Street. They fixed it now, but back then they didn't. There was zero light in that community, and that's where everyone got robbed. Now you're like, why did anyone walk there? Why did they walk there knowing that there was no light? Well, it was also the quickest way home too, for many people, as you wanted to walk across and get to 6th Avenue. But people would walk on that path and they would get robbed consistently because there was no light. You are the light of the world. You are the person who will make it safe for other people to live in this world. You're the safe place on the internet. You're the safe place in your classroom. You are the salt and the light of the world. You're the safe place for the person here on this Zoom call who is not a Christian, but they feel like they just need to talk and be open. They need to talk and share what's going on in their lives. You're the safe place. You are the salt and the light of the world. You are able to be present with them in a way that prevents decaying and a way that shows a path that they can walk by. You are the salt and light of the world. And so when we talk about being present, that's what we are calling us to do. That's what the scriptures are calling us to be and do, to be present with our community. And so think about yourself right now in this moment. Are the decisions you are making, are they adding life to the situation? Are they preventing decay? And then they're adding, are you guiding people to decisions that will help them be closer to God? Or are you not? I think too often we can struggle with being neutral as followers of Jesus. Neutral keeps your friend count about the same. It keeps it high. You're not losing any friends. But like we talked about a couple of weeks ago about saying the tough things that Jesus says, sometimes being the salt and light of the world means sitting and being with people who other people may not want to be with. And that's what Jesus calls us to do. In our communities, in your own personal lives, we're not going to be perfect, but we can be present. We can connect with people. We can help them. We can be people who they feel comfortable with. I mentioned before that this world is in need of community. This world is in need of people who they can really and sincerely connect with. But even some of you disciples are feeling like you need that. And I'm hoping you're able to find that with the relationships you have in our fellowship. But even if you can't find it within our fellowship, you can be the standard in which the rest of us can follow. To be that presence, to be that community. The Bible makes it very clear that the salt and light that you are called to be will keep the world from decaying and keep the world walking on the right path up toward the light. But sometimes how that looks is very challenging, and how quickly that happens, that's very challenging. We are in a microwave generation. We want everything done in 60 seconds. We want to transform an entire community, an entire school within one day of a decision. Things take time. Even now, as you're listening to this message, you may get inspired. You may say, yeah, man, I want to go on campus. I want to be a salt and light of the world. And it's going to be completely different. You go there on Monday and people talk smack about you. You go there Tuesday, they still talk smack about you. Wednesday, you're discouraged. You're like, this doesn't work. No, it takes time. You have to persevere. You have to keep your eyes on the bigger picture. That's something that you young guys and girls need to resist. As much as I need to resist this microwave culture, this instant gratification culture. We need to be people who are rooted in our communities, rooted in our schools, rooted in our households, where we're thinking the long haul, that things are going to change and we're going to be implementers of change. That's an SAT word for you guys. Now, some of you guys might find out that's not a word. I don't care. I can make up things. I love you anyway, church. I digress. So, what are some temptations that we can experience that would prevent us from wanting to be the light of the world or the salt of the earth? Well, I think hypocrisy. That's a huge temptation. When we're being a hypocrite, we're scared to tell people what we believe because we're like, I don't want to tell you that I'm a Christian because I still struggle with this particular sin. I still struggle with this particular issue. I still struggle in these relationships. Embarrassment. No one wants to be the Jesus thumper. You know, the one who has the tattoo on his face, I love Jesus, so what? No one wants to be that kid. And so we can feel that embarrassment or fear. We're scared if we keep talking about Jesus, something bad might happen. And lastly, selfishness. These are 4 temptations that can make it really hard to be the salt of the earth, the light of the world. But what Christ is calling us to do is be moved more by our love for the other, by our love for our community. Be compelled by the love that Christ gave you when he died for you. Now, for some of you who are not followers of Jesus, you may be hearing this and you're like, yeah, that's all nice and stuff, but it doesn't really pertain to me. I want to encourage you right now to really think about how in your household, with your mom and dad living as faithful disciples, that you experience their salt and their light consistently. You get a chance to hear things like, I love you. You get a chance to hear things like reconciliation, where if you hurt them or they hurt you, you guys talk it out. You get a chance to come home to a household of peace. You could be a blessing and learn from them and follow the Lord that they follow and bring that to other people's households, because the world desperately needs that. It desperately needs that. Now, for some of you, you have a really rambunctious household. The worst place for you to be is home. And we're praying for you, and we're praying that could get better. But you could take this passage and you could really start to meditate like, Jesus, is this what it means to follow you? Is this what it means to be guided by you? You could pray, you could get connected, you could study the scriptures and become a disciple and start to become the salt and light in that situation. And again, remember, we're thinking the long haul. We're not thinking microwave. This isn't popcorn. This is Christianity. But I want us to understand that we could be the salt and light of the world. Again, we're in a unique time with the political divisiveness, with all the riots and marching and protesting. We're in a unique time in terms of the COVID virus, where everyone is being infected and having to keep masks and practice social distancing. We're also in a unique time economically. Some of you may not feel it because you're in high school, but we're in a unique time where people are filled with anxiety and wake up with anxiety every single day. And can you imagine if you approached someone and said, hey, I know you're going through a lot. Just tell me what's going on. Share with me your story. I know you're going through a lot, and I know it's really tough, but I'm here for you if you need a friend to call. I'm here for you if you need a friend to pray with. I know you're going through a lot, and things are really tough financially, but I'm gonna reach out to my parents to see if they can help you guys financially. Can you imagine how much better this world would be? Can you imagine how much better your high school would be? Well, we don't have to imagine too much, because this is what it means to follow Jesus. This needs to characterize our lives to follow Jesus. And again, I'm not always what I believe, but I strive every day. I strive every day, and you strive, and you should strive as well. Jesus is calling his followers to be his image bearers. And you are a chosen person. Believe it or not, you are chosen. You are uniquely handpicked by the glory of God to be in the situation that you're currently in. And what he's asking is, be the salt in that situation. Be the light in that situation. Guide other people to his son. I want us to take just a small, brief moment and really think about these next couple of questions that we're going to have here in terms of discussion. What are some temptations you face that makes you want to hide your light? I mentioned 4 in the video, but what are some temptations you may face? What are some ways you can be a positive presence in your friends and family life? How can you be a positive presence to your friends and family? How can you advocate an alternative view for your friends? How can you show them that this is a better way of living? And are you the friend in most situations who brings the positive Christian vibes? I'm not just talking about positive vibes. I'm talking about positive Christian vibes. Are you that friend? Thank you guys for joining us. You know, I'm really hoping that we can walk away from this situation as we study this teaching on the Sermon on the Mount on how to be a presence in our community. I hope the discussions are fruitful and that they're able to really impact us. Again, thank you guys. Love you.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are so excited about all that God is doing right here in Broward County, Florida.